Do you remember how during the height of the fight over health reform, every once in a while, an insurance company would get caught sending out lobbying materials, essentially, to its own customers? Lobbying its own customers with anti-health reform mailers, like the super scary, totally misleading letter that Humana sent to seniors last fall, warning them that health reform was really a secret plot to cut their Medicare benefits? You might also recall last summer when oil companies started busing their employees to rallies protesting against climate change legislation. So it would look like there was a big groundswell of grassroots opposition to the climate change bill. If an industry, apparently any industry, is about to be regulated in this country, you can pretty much count on that industry deploying a massive professional fake grassroots PR campaign to oppose that regulation at all costs. We saw it with health reform, we have seen it with climate change, and now that financial reform is getting serious consideration in Congress, we are seeing it again. But there is a more shameless and insidious element to the industry-designed AstroTurf campaign that's underway right now to oppose financial reform. This stealth corporate lobbying tactic was devised and carried out by the payday lending industry. We've talked about the cartoon villainy of the payday lending industry on this show in the past. While the term payday lender sounds innocuous enough, what payday lenders actually do is more commonly known as loan sharking. They offer, mostly to low-income customers, what look like short-term loans. But they are designed to roll over and over every couple of weeks, collecting giant new fees each time until their customers are buried in debt and ultimately have to pay the equivalent of up to 400% annual interest. Payday lenders are allowed to do that, to engage essentially in usury, because they're not at all regulated by the federal government. Some states regulate them, but some states don't. It looks like Congress might be about to change that through a new consumer agency that's part of the financial reform bill that's being debated right now. So, cue the depraved payday lending opposition effort. David Lazarus at the LA Times is reporting today on efforts, apparently successful efforts, by the payday lending industry to pressure not their employees, but their customers, the people borrowing money from them at 400% interest, into opposing financial reform. This astroturfing effort was exposed when both of California's senators, Barbara Boxer and Dianne Feinstein, say they started getting suspiciously similar-sounding calls from payday lending borrowers, demanding that Congress leave the payday lending industry alone. No regulations for the loan sharks. I mean, payday lenders. Senator Boxer told the LA Times the calls were coming from just a few phone numbers, and it sounded like the callers were reading from the same script. But, Senator Boxer said, what was most surprising was that the callers were opposing a bill that was designed specifically to protect them. Why would the very people being trapped or tricked into paying 400% interest be against regulations that would give them better interest rates? Well, a woman named Norma Cannell spoke to the LA Times. She said when she visited her local loan shark, payday lender, to make a payment on her 180% interest loan, she was encouraged by an employee to make this call to fight financial reform. She was given a flyer that listed contact information for Senators Boxer and Feinstein. The flyer read in part, quote, "If we don't act today, Congress will create a new agency and a government takeover of your personal finances. This new agency would have the power to regulate and restrict your personal credit options. Tell the senators to stop the Community Financial Protection Agency," which isn't what it's called, but still. "Tell them you're angry about health care and now Congress wants to control your right to get credit. Tell them you've had enough and that the senator should stand firm against the administration's attempt to interfere in your financial decisions." Cue the twirling of the evil, villainous mustache. Norma Cannell was not one of the loan shark customers who followed those instructions. She did not call her senators and demand that they vote against financial reform that would benefit her. But she did offer some insight into why so many others did, telling the LA Times that she was worried that the payday lender holding her 180% interest loan would retaliate against her if she didn't make the calls. She said, quote, "What if they call in the loan?" And with that, the payday lending industry has bested its own record for amoral sleaziness. The founding principle of this industry, don't forget, is that it's okay to exploit people who are financially desperate. Their business model is something that, frankly, should be illegal. And now that it's in danger of actually being illegal, they are trying to create a fake grassroots defense of that business model in the most despicable way possible. Not by just busing their own employees to rallies or organizing tea parties or making grassrootsy-looking websites, but by intimidating their victims, I mean borrowers, the people they've already tricked or trapped into high-interest debt cycles, into fighting for more high-interest debt cycles. The payday lending industry exists because the people behind it essentially figured out how to legally steal your wallet. And now they're trying to make you help them legally steal your wallet and others too.